Can the clothing you wear affect the way you perform on the athletic field? The quick answer is yes. But how? What ways? Guys, that's what today's video is all about. I've got 5 ways in which the clothing you wear can have positive and negative effects. All of this backed by research. So guys, stick around. It's going to be a fun video. All right, gents, let's get right into the content. Let's talk about the first piece of athletic clothing, which can lead to enhanced performance. That's going to be compression clothing. Specifically, compression clothing, we're talking about stockings, sleeves, we're talking about tights worn in and around the buttocks and the thigh area. This is going to lead to basically better circulation. Now, that's where it comes out of, is actually out of the medical field when they were trying to encourage better circulation in the elderly. What they noticed, though, is that when younger and when athletes started trying to wear this, they found, hey, I get better circulation, and that reduces recovery time. It increases endurance. And what we see is the research over the years, there's quite a bit of it. It's actually been a bit mixed on and off. But what they have been able to clearly prove is that there are psychological benefits. Because if you believe that this is going to improve your circulation, it feels good, you feel that you're recovering faster, you actually are. It's one of those placebo things out there. You know, it's a very small improvement. But if you notice a difference, then you probably are experiencing it. Clothing item number 2, which improves athletic performance, is going to be an item that actually brings in heat balance. So what we're talking, as you know, you have a normal body temperature. Whenever you go out there and exercise, that temperature starts to go up. But if you're in an environment, let's say you're in Austin, Texas during the summer, how do a lot of guys dress when they go out jogging like that? They throw on a pair of shorts, running shoes, and they go out without a shirt on. They're out there in the hot sun during the midday, and they're exposing themselves to heat stroke. Why not simply put on a hat? You'll have that better temperature on your head. Why not wear actually a long sleeve, wicking moisture, light colored or semi-light colored shirt that simply does a great job of blocking off the sun rays, allows your sweat to dissipate and go right through, and just does a better job of regulating your temperature. Now, this isn't always just because of the heat. It can be the extreme cold. Let's say you're over in Vancouver, Canada, and it's November. It's kind of a nice day in November. You're going to go out hiking, but you know that the weather can change and that you could get rained on. Some winds could come in, temperature could drop, and yeah, you're going to be out there hiking. You're going to be going for a pretty long hike. Well, you want to make sure that you've got material that can actually block the wind, can block the rain, can actually, when you're out there jogging, it's going to wick away moisture. So specialty jackets that are made for that kind of condition are something that's probably worth investing in. Now, gentlemen, all the clothing you just saw is made by Strong Body Apparel. And throughout this video, I'm going to be pulling up a number of their pieces. And for 3 years, I've been using their gear, and I can tell you, this is the real deal. And I mean, there's some great things about it. It's moisture wicking, it's lightweight, it has a 4-way stretch, it's incredibly comfortable, and it is durable. And that's the one thing I want to stress on, because guys, these performance shorts right here, I have had these for 3 years. I have worn and washed these hundreds of times. They have maintained, they sent me a new pair. And when I'm looking at this, I'm like, in 3 years, this pair has held up amazingly well. Maybe there's one stitch I was able to find that's kind of falling apart. These are just my go-to favorite shorts. And they sent me another pair. So this is my 3rd pair, which, just to let you guys know, down in the comments, I'm going to link over to this company. I want you to go check them out. Let me know what your favorite pieces are, because they sent me some extra ones. And honestly, as much as I would love to keep these, I know that you guys would appreciate it if I sent some your way. So go check out this company. Gents, I can't stress this enough. Strong Body Apparel is the real deal. Their clothing is durable, lasts forever, and is of the highest quality. Now, they normally don't put out discount codes. I've got one for you down there in the description. It's a limited time one. Go use it, take advantage. Anything you want to put into your cart and grab. Guys, one of my favorite companies. Proud to recommend them. Example number 3 of where clothing affects athletic performance is in bodysuits. Specifically, we're talking about bodysuits that reduce drag, increase speed. So let's talk about swimming. Polyurethane bodysuits were banned. Why? Because they actually reduce drag in some measurable tests by 40%. Now think about that. If you have a 40% reduction in drag that this suit gives you, you could have a swimmer who is actually athletically better, but because maybe he can't afford to have a particular suit, another swimmer who has that is going to end up beating him. So they went ahead and outlawed it. But what's interesting, in many other sports where you actually want to have a full suit, such as long distance speed skating, it actually has been shown that the suits that they wear, very important. We're talking about a 1% difference on race day. We also see this starting to go into cycling and other sports like that. But make sure if you're going to be at the highest level, it is something you want to pay attention to what you're wearing. Now let's talk about the fourth way in which clothing can enhance athletic performance. Wear clothing that's comfortable. Now, how do you judge comfort? You look at actually which clothing is going to be able to stand up to the extremes of you sweating, of the temperature, with the temperature regulation, everything we talked about a little bit earlier. You want to look at athletic clothing versus cotton. Now, I like cotton. I like cotton shirts. The problem with cotton is it soaks up moisture and then it doesn't dissipate it very well. Versus a lot of the stuff out there specifically designed, especially in the last 10 years, for sucking up moisture and then releasing it. Now, why does it do that? Because if you get down to the fabric level, you look at the actual textile, at the fibers that are used here, a lot of the ones used, they have like they feel like silk, yet they have the durability of cotton, or they're sewn in a way that they've got a four-way stretch. All of this, the four-way stretch prevents hot spots, even if you're wearing it tightly. Cotton usually only has a two-way stretch, and at that, not even much of a stretch. So all of a sudden, you've got a big advantage there. Now, when it comes to moisture sucking, basically the way that the fibers are designed on cotton, they're not made to easily release water. But when you look at this on a lot of synthetic materials, they're going to be made and they're going to be much smoother, and that's going to allow basically the water to go right through and to go right off, especially if it has the right type of weave. So those things right there are going to make it so that they can have something lighter, something that's going to breathe better, something that's going to sweat better, and at the end of the day is going to be much more enjoyable to wear, and you're going to reduce injury. Like, let's say you're a long distance runner. Well, think about that. If you are wearing a cotton shirt after 20 miles or training up for a marathon, what happens? Your nipples start to bleed because you're rubbing them like basically it's like sandpaper. But if you've got something that has a feel of silk, that's a very soft feel to it, you're just not going to have that same issues. More comfort, higher performance. Example number 5 of how clothing can affect athletic performance is how the color of clothing can affect not only your mindset, but the mindset of the people watching the performance. So these two colors right here, which one is more aggressive? Which one, if I'm wearing it, are you going to instantly think this guy he's just more aggressive? It's going to be black. And you guys have probably heard me talk about this in other articles and videos. But if you're wearing black, you are going to be perceived as more aggressive. Now, what's interesting is they did a study back in 1988, and they took, because if you think about it, in the NHL, basically the National Hockey League, and the NFL, we see teams wear light colors, wear dark colors, if they're home or they're away. Every time the teams wore black, again and again, they were receiving more penalties versus whenever they were wearing their lighter colors. Why did this happen? They found it was two factors. One, the way the athletes perceived themselves. So whenever they wore the black uniforms, they viewed themselves as more aggressive. Now, here's what's interesting is other people, even trained referees and people in the audience who didn't even know the sport, perceived those that were wearing black as more aggressive as well. What basically this added up to is that the athletes were more aggressive. They were perceived as more aggressive by others, and these two factors resulted in basically them getting more penalties. How do you use this to your advantage? Well, let's just think, I guess if you've got a team of people that aren't very aggressive, you're in an aggressive sport, well, I would go about making sure that you choose black jerseys. All right, gentlemen, now it's your turn. I want to hear from you down in the comments. What you think of this video? Do you agree with the points I talked about? Maybe you disagree. And if you want more, you want the scientific studies, go check out the article I'm going to link to down in the description, and over at Real Men Real Style, I'll go into a lot more detail over there. So if you want to expand on some of the points, I would love to hear from you. Finally, gentlemen, go check out Strong Body Apparel. They were the paid sponsor of this video, and more importantly, they are a solid company that I've worked with for over 3 years. When they first sent me these shorts over 3 years ago, I loved them then. I love them now, and they have stood up to the test of time. I've worn and washed these over 200 times. They've got all types of shorts. They've got all types of shirts. They've got a new collection that just came out. And guys, that discount code, they don't do that very often. So take advantage of that discount code. It's not going to be available for much longer. That's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I really appreciate you guys. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.